Hello everybody! Welcome to another Poverty Hill Adventures Oddments video. Formerly known as Odds and Ends, now known as Oddments. This one would be Oddments number 57. And we've got quite a selection of odds and ends in this one. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, Poverty Hill Pete doesn't want anyone to blame him. He's a little nervous. Everybody's going to blame him for the long winter. But he says he's just a messenger. That's all he is. Anybody know what made these tracks? That's a yardstick in the picture, so the tracks are approximately a yard apart, 36 inches apart. That could vary. And I'm going to give you one clue here. The animal that made these tracks has a very important role in expanding forests and changing the type of trees that are made up in the forest. When you think of archery, you normally think of fairly close distances, especially with what's referred to as traditional archery. Well, back in 1968, in the March-April issue of Bow and Arrow magazine, there is a very interesting article titled "The Far Flingers of Flight." Now, I'm familiar with what's referred to as a clout shoot, but I'd never heard of flight archers. And I guess this was fairly popular back then. I'll read the first little bit to everybody here. The flight archer is one who has no target at which to shoot. He lofts an arrow into the air at a prescribed angle of 43 degrees and is only concerned with how far the shaft will fly down the course. They may have no 6 gold ring, no spot, and no sight. To many, flight perhaps is one of the most different types of archery, and they see no earthly reason for shooting it. Those who have tried it cannot stay away from the flight course to see if they can better that last shot or perhaps set a new mark themselves. It becomes a competition with yourself. It says here that they have 5 categories, classes: 50 pound, 65 pound, 80 pound, and an unlimited category in which one can shoot any draw weight from 50 or below to over 100 pounds. The final class is the footbow, but another may be added in the crossbow. Since many enthusiasts are experimenting with this method of casting a shaft, they're also thinking of adding a target flight or a hunter flight events using regulation broadheads. I don't know where that would be a good idea. So it says, this is, now you got to remember, this is back in the late 60s. Each of the current classes is divided into 2 groups, amateur and professional. This means that the first-time out flight shooter isn't competing with a seasoned pro for the records. Here's a picture of a fellow by the name of Harry Drake. And it says here he reached a distance of 1,000 359 yards, 2 feet 5 inches with his crossbow. Here's another article from that exact same magazine. It's called a Sling Thing Wing Ding. And it's an arrow launcher that almost fits in your hip pocket. So it's kind of like a combination slingshot that shoots an arrow. What could go wrong there? So anyhow, there's some pictures of it here. They're even using a release with this device here. And here's a fellow from the bow and arrow staff, and it says he's steadying his Yamaha YD3 motorcycle between his knees and demonstrates the ease of getting off what would be very difficult shot with conventional archery equipment. So I guess if you ever want to shoot a bow from a motorcycle, this is the device to have. So anyhow, I wanted to show it all to you. I've got several shout-outs this time around. I got a shout-out to Whistling Badger for his comments on the cast iron cooking video. Thanks, Whistling Badger. Deer Corner for his comments on the Adirondack trapline video and the axe video. Rob for his helpful comment on tempering the steel in the story about the old axe. Outdoorsman for his comments on the axe video and the maple syrup video. Thanks, Outdoorsman. I got a special shout out to David for being so understanding when I got his name wrong. Sorry about that. I'm getting old and mixed up. A tip of my hat to Outdoor Addiction for picking up the litter in his latest video and his helpful comments on what's in the knife case video. Good for you, Outdoor Addiction, for picking up somebody else's trash. Fisher Cat for his comments on the maple syrup video. Outdoorsman for his comment on the shooting the self-bow video, the latest self-bow video. Our friend Mark T for his comment on the maple syrup video. John B for his comments on the self-bow video and the workshop number 9 video. Dino for his help with the syrup and the cast iron cooking video. Eric for his help with the cast iron cooking video. It's doing very well. And Kevin, I'd like to thank Kevin for his help with that latest Mountain Man story. It's doing quite well. And I'd also like to welcome, my paper's getting wet here, so I better read quick. Welcome some new subscribers. I got David P, Vitonio, Penzi Outdoors, Clundon 2000, and Jeff R. So I'd like to welcome those guys to Poverty Hill. And lastly, I want to thank all the women who've watched this channel in the last month. We've got our percentage of women viewing up to 35% of the viewers are women now. So that's kind of cool. So thanks, everybody.